Hello everybody, once again, this is Scott Stan, the original Tombstone Tourist, and today we come from Harmony Grove Cemetery in Salem, Massachusetts. Little known fact, I lived in Salem for 4 years. Now, you might remember this cemetery as our very first video we did of the Parker brothers up on top of the hill. Now, this is a beautiful cemetery, great place to hike, lovely. But what it does have is one of the most fascinating, brilliant financial minds of the 18th century, or the 1800s. And that's George Peabody. Now, George Peabody was born in 1795, and at the age of 8, he kind of dropped out of school, if you can call dropping out of elementary school, to work in his brother's grocery store. Now, during that time, they were trying to support 8 kids, mother, father. Dad passed away suddenly, and then the store burnt down. So, 0 for 2. Now, George decided to go down to Washington, D.C., and with a partner, he opened up a dry goods firm. Now, you got to remember how young he was. He didn't have a high school education. He certainly didn't have college education. He was very rudimentarily, formally educated. But he was a brilliant man. And he built that dry goods store so it was had outlets in D.C., Baltimore, New York, and Philadelphia. At the end of a couple of years, he made $400,000, paid off all his family's debts. And while he was traveling to England to negotiate the dry goods and the sale back and forth, because oddly enough, there was no Amazon.com back then, he met some financial people. And he negotiated a loan to save the state of Maryland from bankruptcy for $8 million. Now, he took no commission, he just wanted to do it. And he made such good friends back in England, he moved there permanently. He only came back to the US 3 times. And he built what was then Peabody and Company. And he amassed a fortune of over $20 million. Now, the interesting thing is, he partnered with J.S. Morgan, and he showed J.S. Morgan the ropes. J.S. Morgan had a son named J.P. Morgan, and next thing you know, J.P. Morgan now turned into J.P. Morgan Chase that we know today. It was all because of George Peabody and his brilliant mind. Now, was he known for building this great institution? Absolutely not. What he was known as the father of modern gifting. Modern, giving of your wealth. And he gave it to Harvard, he gave it to Yale, he gave it to Vanderbilt. He had over 100 investments all over in England and in the US. Philanthropy, that's the word I'm looking for. He was the father of modern philanthropy. And so he spent the rest of his days giving money. He was never married, never had children. And when he died, he was interned in Westminster Abbey in England. The greatest honor, because he was to be the first American ever to be granted that distinction. Well, they went back and looked at his will and said, oh, he actually wanted to be buried in Salem, Massachusetts, where he's from. And that's where he is today. So let me show you his tomb. As you come into Harmony Grove, you come to the office, you make a left, you make a right, and he's right up here on the hillside. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, funny thing, he's really buried here. Everybody calls it a sarcophagus. I've talked to cemetery officials and I've looked at the research. He and family members are truly buried here. So, fun fact of the day. I'm Scott Stanton, I'm the Tombstone Tourist, and thank you very much from Harmony Grove Cemetery in Salem, Mass.